Welcome to the first episode of This Old Sim. In this series, I take this 6 degree of freedom motion simulator apart, down to its base, and rebuild it to be the best it can be. Even though the premise of this series is a full teardown, we're still not quite ready to do that yet. I mostly use this platform for Elite Dangerous, and it's currently celebrating its 10th anniversary by having aliens invade the Earth. Naturally, I don't want to miss that, so we'll begin the big part of the refit in another week or two, probably right at the first of the year 2025. In the meantime, though, there are still a lot of things that need to be set up so they're ready for their final installation. Today's focus is on the pilot cam. The system is a microcosm of the entire project, over-engineered, full of moving parts, surprisingly useful, and despite how expensive it looks, is made mostly of obsolete hardware no one else wanted. One of my goals is to replace any mobile device I might currently be using with something more hardwired. Mobile tech like phones and tablets are useful, but they have some serious drawbacks I'm trying to avoid. Planned obsolescence and battery failure being on the top of the list, so I don't want them to be a part of the permanent setup wherever I can avoid it. That's why we're rigging this for a wired HD webcam today. This is a no-name camera I got on AliExpress for $7, and it comes with its own LED light that doesn't hurt my eyes and is fairly good quality, so let's use it. We're going to mount it to this camera gimbal, which was originally designed to hold cell phones. It works as advertised, but in practice, it's just too cumbersome for most situations, so it's been sitting on a shelf for the last 5 years. Modern versions of this type of gimbal now have built-in cameras, and they're much more efficient and easier to use, which is why you can grab an older one like this for $25 on the marketplace. Like I said, looks fancy, but is kind of bargain basement. Did you know 3D printers can make more than just 3D printer accessories? It's true! They're especially great for creating adapters and mounts for adapters. To attach it to one of the platform's moving pylons, I had to measure carefully and make a part that goes over the steel lip. This fit is so snug I had to pull hard on a travel strap to attach it. I'm pretty proud to have gotten it so close on the first try. But now we need to make the plate for the webcam onto the gimbal, and that's going to be a lot easier. I have a trick for when things have tolerance requirements like this that may not be widely known. You start by scanning an object on a regular flatbed scanner. Since you can't close the lid, cover the object with a white towel to block out excess light. Use the built-in Microsoft scanning app because its default settings won't compress the image, and it will give you a 1-to-1 digital copy of the things you're trying to make a bracket for. If the edges are rough, you can clean them up a little bit in a raster-based graphics program. Photoshop is great for this, but I use GIMP because screw paying a monthly fee to a giant corporation for no reason, am I right? Save the cleaned up image as a PNG, then import it over to a vector graphics program. Adobe Illustrator works great for this, but I prefer Inkscape because screw paying a monthly fee to a giant corporation for no reason. Am I right? The reason we're making a vector shape is it uses a mathematical formula rather than pixels to generate an image. This is useful for a lot of reasons, but for our needs today, not only do we have a smooth copy in 2D, but we can extrude it out to 3D with ease. For simple builds like this, I use Tinkercad instead of Blender because its extrude system is incredibly efficient. You could use a paid 3D program for this, but screw paying a monthly fee to a giant corporation for no reason, am I right? Once that's done, you can simply export it out and print it up. An hour later, and the 3D print is done. I always thought this was a well-known technique, but now I'm not so sure. So let me know if you use a scanner to get accurate measurements like this. If it's new, I'll make a separate video to share it around. The steel pole is for an old overhead projector, and the top of the pole is a shape already available on Thingiverse, only slightly modified. When I do the teardown, I'll paint these printed parts either silver or black, but they don't really even look that bad as they are. And that's the entire build. We now have a more reliable camera mounted on a system capable of keeping up with the simulator and countering its movements for smoother coverage without really that much effort, and certainly no monthly fee. I'll be able to control this camera with OBS via these touchscreen monitors, but more on that next episode when we start building out the PCs. Some of you might be interested in seeing me stream once it's done, but there are still a few things to prepare before we're ready to go live. We're really close though. If you want to see that, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell, the whole thing, and you'll be notified when it comes together. See you next time for another episode of This Old Sim.